Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Red Cartel podcast. I am joined, as always, by the infamous Boss Man. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you doing, buddy?
Not doing too badly. And we're going to be looking today at the Arsenal game. And there's a few talking points from it, but I'll hand it straight over to you, Boss Man. What was the game like? What were your feelings, thoughts from it?
Oh, it was tense, boss. It was a tense game. Um, I was very very relaxed at half time. Obviously, Arsenal 2-0 up. Martinelli and Trossard popping up with the two goals to make 2-0, and half time thinking this is nice and relaxing. Maybe bring off some players towards the end of the game, give some people some rests, maybe give Saka kind of 20 minutes off the end of the game. I thought, yeah, this is nice and easy. We're dominating, and then yeah, it kind of all changed in the second half, and it became quite a nervy affair towards the end of it. So yeah, really pleased with the first half performance. We dominated. We should have been quite a few goals up. We were 2-0 up, but we only scored in the like injury time in the first half. We scored our second goal, but yeah, 2-0 up, and then of course the game changes. Um, you know, Justin, old JJ pops up with first goal was a deflection. Nothing really David Raya could do with that. He was going one way, hits Kai Havertz's shoulder, goes in the other way, and then of course, as normally happens with Arsenal, a player that doesn't normally score worldies scores a worldie against us. What a goal! Obviously, you've seen that goal as well, Leon. Unbelievable! What a strike! Well done, Justin, mate. Absolute obscene strike. Goal probably won't be actually goal of the month because there's been some absolutely cracking goals this month. But yeah, going to be definitely up there. I'm definitely not voting for that on Match of the Day when it pops up.
Well, do you think that ever since that article came out where they were like, "Oh, no one scores screamers anymore," and then all of a sudden everyone started scoring screamers?
Yeah, they're
What's
probably
that?
just trying to prove them wrong, mate. Prove them wrong.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, once it went to 2-2, it kind of was a bit like our last game, except for we were no longer the defence, we were the attack, and yeah, it was kind of attack against defence. Uh, just so many shots, so much domination, so many corners. I think we had 17 corners in that game. XG, I think, of 4.99. So underperformed our XG even though we scored 4 goals.
yeah.
Yeah, and their keeper was just playing out of his skin in that game as well. So harsh on their goalkeeper to have conceded 4, but still played a kind of a man of a match performance. Really, I think if we had drawn, he would have got man of the match.
I still think he should have been, even because he was incredible to have as many shots as you had. They probably should have conceded 10. Maybe that's a bit out of
Yeah,
order.
I mean
Maybe.
some of the saves. He made a save against Trossard in the second half, which was like
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. Like one of those kind of like, yeah, he's just gone for it. He's just gone for it. Like got that solid hand. Made an amazing save against Kai Havertz as well. That would have been a very good goal. I think he might have been offside, but if not, it's still an amazing save. But yeah, and then it all comes down to that last minute. 94 minutes. Saka produces a great cross again, and yeah, Trossard gets the ball back in and hits the defender and goes in. So yeah, 3-2. Great, reminded me of that kind of the Declan Rice goal against Man United this last season, where ball comes in and Rice gets the shot away and it hits the defender and goes in. Settled the nerves very much so, and then yeah, Havertz pops up to put a bit of gloss on the result to make it 4-2. But yeah, really happy with the result. Would have preferred it to have been a bit more of a straightforward result, but yeah, happy with the 3 points. Yeah, chalk it up, 3 points. No one remembers that it was a it was a tight one at the end of the season. It's just all about those 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I only watched the highlights, admittedly, because I was watching the Liverpool game. But at least from the highlights, and I know it doesn't show you everything, you battered them basically, and the stats and everything. And as I said to you beforehand, I was like, at 2-2, 90 minutes. I mean, to a certain degree, I was like, come on, boys, like last one.
Yeah, of course.
What's going on? And then I thought, sympathetically actually, because Liverpool have been like this as well over the last 5-6 years or so, and I thought, you've had one of them games where the goalie has like been inspired by like Gordon Banks and just decided to become like the best goalie in the world for this one game, and he'll be terrible all around it, or like average. And then that save against Trossard, that was insane. That was like the strongest arm in the world. Like to keep
wasn't it?
It was ridiculous. Like, and he gambled the correct way as well, because the shape of where he was, he could have gone the other side, and Trossard went, no, I'm going to go high in that way, and he just went, well, I'm just going to acrobatically dive to my right and have the like, I don't know, bicep curl of the gods, like bam, and it was just like, oh my god, even in slow motion, his arm doesn't like move. It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, his name's Hermansson. I've never heard of him before. Danish keeper. So Leicester keeping on the old. Oh, his first name's Mads. So he's going to be good, mate. The only other Mads I remember, Mads Timms, but that's a shout out to any old Champman players. He used to play for Man United, Mads Timms. But yeah, it was inspired. It was an inspired performance by that goalkeeper. 13 saves he made, which is unbelievable. Looking at the match stats, we had 35 shots, 16 on target, which is crazy. 10 off target. I don't know where. 9 block shots. I was about to say where did the other 9 go, but they were in block shots. Just a crazy amount of possession, 75% possession. But it was one of those games, man. You have to break those teams down, and you have to win the game. And that's a lesson we've learnt a lot. At Arsenal, as an Arsenal fan, you need to break those teams down and get those goals in. But yeah, really happy with the result, and happy to keep 11 men on the pitch as well, which hasn't happened too often this season for Arsenal. So yeah, overall, just really happy to get that game, under the belt. Is that the word? No, but
You just get rid of it. Get rid of Leicester. You were drawing 2-2, and you could have easily, that sounds crazy. You could have easily somehow lost the game, and then it would have been an absolute do you know what I mean? Like an absolute travesty. If they have one more shot and score, and they had so little shots, and didn't they have no corners?
They had 0 corners, yeah. So they weren't even trying to invite the pressure. So we didn't really have that pressure. In fact, when it was 2-2, Leicester had a very good chance. They whizzed over a cross that beat David Raya, but just luckily there was no one on the end of it to put it away. So, yeah, those games are always on a knife edge. 2-2, when you're trying to get the winner, you're going to leave stuff at the back that's going to give that opposition a chance.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it goes perfectly into a load of the questions that I had for you around the Arsenal game. And because the first thing is, I suppose I'll put 2 questions together. So I was going to ask you about Calafiori and how he's been doing for Arsenal, but then he maybe should have been sent off in the game for a second bookable effect. We talked about the ref watch stuff and all that before, but I agree with what you said that Dean Ashton said, which is like, I don't really want sending offs for that though.
Yeah.
But I don't want it.
I agree, but I think we were lucky. I think Arteta mentioned that and alluded to that. I've definitely seen them being given as a second yellow. So thankfully he wasn't sent off, and we got to have those 11 men on the pitch. But I also, on that ref watch, old Dermot Propaganda Gallagher was talking about he said a new rule. I don't know whether this has been a rule for a while, but because Partey was following up and would have made the interception on that ball, technically Calafiore didn't stop an attacking movement and therefore wasn't going to be a guaranteed yellow card. But you see refs every single week give yellow cards for that. So we got lucky on that one, and I'm really glad Calafiore managed to finish the game. I have to say, going on the other point, Calafiore, he was just he's starting to transform our left side. I think last season we had a real issue with our balance on the left, especially trying to integrate Kai Havertz into midfield, chopping and changing our left-sided defender a lot. I think it really affected our left side. It started to affect Martinelli quite a lot as well in his output. And Martinelli in that game, I thought was just superb. Like almost back to the Martinelli of a couple of seasons ago. Because I think last season Martinelli was he wasn't at his top. But yeah, very, very, I think Calafiore giving that balance to that left side. You know, maybe it's just Martinelli's hitting his purple patch again, but yeah, really impressed with Calafiore. He just seems like such a grown-up defender. Like I think he's 22, 23, 24, something like that. So young defender still, but he just seems and has that air of I suppose he's an Italian defender. So he has that air of like, I'm not going to get beaten. And yeah, he's just I'm so impressed with him.
Cultured defender. Like I said to you, he's the regen of Maldini. He looks a bit like him. He scores goals like Maldini. He can play centre back and left like Maldini. He's got that air of like, I don't have to slide in to tackle you.
Yeah,
I don't have to. I'm just that good. I'm honestly, I'm gutted. I genuinely think when you won't like this bit, but when Van Dijk retires and when Saliba leaves, Calafiore will be the best defender in the Premier League. That's what I think.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. Well, I don't hope Saliba ever leaves, but Saliba leaves after his 10 years, and he's got his testimonial, and he's won the Champions League 3 times with us. Then he can leave. But but I get what you mean. I think he's a massive upgrade on what we had at left back last season, where we were kind of trying to play Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Kivior, like lots of different combinations to try and get that left back sorted. And I think he's come in and really helped with that, and just help with the depth as well that we have in our defence. I'm not as worried now if Gabriel gets an injury. Obviously, touch wood, he doesn't, and he stays injury free all season. But I'm not as worried as I was last season if one of those, Saliba or Gabriel, gets an injury now, because I think we have, with Calafiore coming in, we've got Ben White that can play centre back, because we've now got Timber that can cover Tomiyasu if he ever gets fit. He can play in that position as well. So I think he's just bringing in that real depth to our defence, which was pretty strong anyway last season. But yeah, depth to our defence now.
And so, talking about Calafiore and red cards, like segueing straight into 2 things. One, Ndidi, you'll love this. Ndidi booted the ball away and didn't receive the Declan Rice yellow card.
Yeah, didn't receive a second yellow card, which, look, we won the game, so it's not that much of an issue. If we'd drawn the game, we'd be like, what's going on? How can you do that? But it frustrates me so much that he came along, Saka gets a foul, not fouled by Ndidi. He's on the floor, Ndidi comes along and kicks the ball out of play. It is a clear violation of the letter of the law that we have in the game at the moment, that if someone tries to delay a restart, then they should be getting a yellow card, regardless of whether it's the first or the second yellow card in the game for them. Didn't get it done. It was also very telling how little was spoken about that incident in either Match of the Day or on Sky Sports or anywhere really around that. Because if that's an Arsenal player, because they talked a lot about Calafiore and whether he was lucky to be not to be sent off, but they didn't mention that. And it was only, I thought, I saw it on socials about the fact that he did it, because I didn't even notice. They didn't talk about it in the game. They didn't show any replays or anything like that. So it was only because it was on socials that I even saw it. But yeah, it's a letter of the law. He gets sent off. He shouldn't get sent off because it's ridiculous. To get a second yellow card for that, I think is ridiculous. It should be a warning and say, look, what are you doing? Or bring your captain over, guys. You know the rules. Like, let's never do that again. But yeah, letter of the law, mate. And I love that I get to say letter of the law a lot. But letter of the law, that's a sending off, and without a doubt. And I was watching Ref Watch this morning, with Dermot Propaganda Gallagher. Chatting away, and he was adamant that it was not a yellow card. He said that it was not a yellow card because these are the two reasons. He said that there was no Arsenal players around there to be able to take the quick free kick, not around the ball, near the ball to take the free kick, and therefore he didn't stop that because he said Saka was on the floor, so he couldn't have taken the free kick. So. Which, okay, fair enough, that's your opinion, but I don't want to harp on about it, but the last game we had against Man City, you tell me where a Man City player was anywhere near Trossard to be able to grab the ball off Trossard and take a free kick. You tell me that their free kick could be taken quickly anyway when there was a player pretending that he'd been shot on the floor in Bernardo Silva. You tell me that you could take a free kick in that scenario when the ref would have called Trossard over to have a word with him. So if you use that logic about why that shouldn't be a yellow card, then you have to use that same logic of Trossard and then go on TV and say Trossard shouldn't be a yellow card. But obviously Mr. Propaganda was right on there to say, yeah, no, it shouldn't be a yellow card. And look, I don't think it should have been a yellow card because I think that rule's stupid. It's never been an issue. Touching the ball away to be able to get back into your defensive shape has never been an issue in the Premier League. There are other time wasting issues that are issues, like the goalkeeper keeping the ball for minutes to take a goal kick or holding it in their hands for so long to slow down play. Yeah, and before anyone jumps on, Arsenal do that a lot. Right, and I'm well aware of that, and every Premier League does. That's maybe what you should cut down on that time wasting. But the kick away, yeah, it annoys me. It annoys me, but luckily, because there was so little talked about it in the match, that I didn't really get annoyed at the match. But it was only after I saw it on socials and saw yeah, I accept being punished for those things. If the other teams are punished as well, and they don't seem to ever be punished. So I think you mentioned there was a couple of players in the Liverpool game that got yellow carded for kicking the ball away as well. They were their first yellow cards. So it's just that consistency. That's all you want as a fan, is just to say, just have some level of consistency. If you're going to put a rule in and say we're going to be harsh on this rule and we're going to be firm, then just be firm across the board, just not just for certain players or certain teams.
Well, so I would say two things in response to that. The Ndidi moment, I mean, I'm with you. I don't want that to be... They're trying to solve a problem that never existed. It's like mini-disc all over again. There's a reason that they came in and went out. They didn't solve the problem. There was the problem that didn't exist. It was let's make discs smaller. Let's eradicate all of those booting the ball away moments. Oh, we've already done that with multi-ball. Don't worry about that. We'll try and fix it again. It's why? No one cared. I've never heard anybody moaning about it, ever.
Yeah, but it's that, yeah. It's that sense. Thing where it's that redirect, that sleight of hand. If we can get people to focus on this thing that's not really an issue, then they're not going to be worrying about the level of refereeing. Because the idea is, no, the referee's doing well because they're following this rule, and really the refereeing levels need to be raised in the Premier League.
Again, like I said, sliding doors moment is that Ndidi, if he gets sent off, is he in the way of the Trossard cross to score the goal that
Yeah,
maybe not?
that's very true.
And like, one bad decision cancels another bad decision. Now, I don't know what the refs are doing anymore. I've got no idea what they're doing. It's like they're a clown and they just are there. And then Dermot,
Propaganda Gallagher.
Yeah, I was going to go with a lot of a ruder name, but yeah, the propaganda machine, like they just reverse engineer cherry picked decisions and go, yeah. You see how this one's, yeah. See? Oh no. Look, because if you look and stop the still image here, there's a geezer and he's actually right by it. And it's like it seems to be. Let's never criticise the referee's decision, only justify it. And I don't understand what that is. The only people like criticising it are like us guys and like pundits and stuff like that. Like, that's it.
Yeah, but you don't have a segment called Ref Watch without the Referees Association being very much involved on that. But just to say, like in overall, I thought the ref was really good. I thought it was he let the play flow. He was, very good with managing that game. So, but it's just that incident, like, it's so fresh in everyone's memory, like, from last week. Like, you've got to just dish out that punishment. I'm well aware that in a month's time, no one's getting booked for kicking the ball away, because the initiative will die down and no one will get booked again. But while you're in that kind of thing, look, you've got to send it off. And your sliding doors moment about the fact that indeed he scored the own goal, so that was kind of like that. But I do feel that 10 men Leicester are probably not holding out to the 94th minute anyway.
And so I've got a few more questions around some Arsenal players in the game and stuff. But before I go into any more of them, just thinking about the consistency of refereeing. Do you think that, like, perhaps there's not just this reverse engineering narrative going on, but do you think that now they're actually robbing referees of praise by doing this? So you're the referee that, I don't know who it was who refereed your game, but the referee that refereed, if he had, like, so he let the Calafiori one go, and you're like, good. And he let the Ndidi one go, and you're like, good refereeing. I like this. He's done really well. This whole game is really good. He's let it flow. It's all good. Now no one's talking about that. No one's saying he's done a really good job. So they're robbing the referees of praise when they're doing something good. So no positive reinforcement, and they're only reverse engineering cherry-picked decisions that then actually a lot of the time make a mug of the referee and only justify the process.
I mean, look, I think that's VAR. Is that? I mean, it's like the way it's being run is crazy. Yeah, his name's Samuel Barrett. So well done, Samuel. That was a very good refereeing performance. He must be one of the newer referees. I'd never heard of him before, but yeah, wow. Like it's a strange one. That VAR. Yeah, I've always thought it's just a unaccountable person in a box that's not on the pitch making or changing decisions that shouldn't be changed or made, and just allow the refs to ref. If it's egregious, if you know the ref hasn't seen it, go back in, but stop putting these rules and regulations in that's just killing the game. But yeah, well done Samuel, great refereeing. And also he the first goal we scored, obviously there was a talking point for that with whether Vardy was fouled by Saliba. Wasn't a foul. I don't know, not even know why it became a talking point, but it wasn't a foul. Referee was in very great position to see it wasn't a foul and let the play go on. But yeah, I just love to play. I just love to talk about an Arsenal game without having to rant about the inconsistency of decisions within a game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I feel similarly in some ways to like back to when Liverpool were challenging for the title under Klopp. Like I was like, why is it always this? Like, and it's now moved a little bit, and they've just changed and harped on about something else. But I suppose we should move on from from that chat and go more on. Let's just say I've got 2 or 3 questions here that are probably going to be more interesting than referee talk and Dermot the idiot Gallagher. So let's talk some inspiring, cool stuff about Arsenal. So Nweneri, what's he like?
Mate, yeah, he's one of our own, mate. He's one of our own. No, he's superb, mate. Like the 17-year-old, the confidence. First thing he does when he gets onto the pitch, we're like 2-2, fighting for the winner. Yeah, and Nweneri picks up the ball, takes it infield, does a little curling, I think left-footed shot. Keeper makes a very good save. That's his first impact. He's just so confident on the ball. Really, I'm so excited to see what he's going to do this season, and he's one of those special players. I think he's going to be a very special player, and I know this is so kind of fucking over the top because he's played like about 30 minutes of Premier League football so far, but just everything I read about him, everything I hear about him, and everything I see about him just suggests to me that this guy is going to be something special over the next couple of seasons.
Well, I mean, I'll add to that, at least from an outside perspective, if he's getting game time ahead of some players, like in that position, whether you could say, he's just giving Saka a rest, he's just giving somebody else a rest when he plays because he can play multiple different positions. If he's getting into your team, who went for the title last season at 17, Arteta isn't an idiot, so he's obviously good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's superb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good, and I think obviously we played Bolton in the League Cup the game before, and he scored twice, and he's just everywhere, and he's so confident, and that's like he has that kind of air of like, I know I'm far superior to my age group and like people around me, and you need to bring that confidence in when you start playing, and then in the men's game you're like, and you got bigger players, you got more physical, faster, but he seems to have taken to it like a duck to water, mate, and just really looking forward to seeing kind of what he can produce over the next kind of season and a half, and then just kind of coming into World Cup 2026, mate. And is it the World Cup or is it it's World Cup 2026?
Bold claim, but I mean it's not like we haven't got enough right wingers that are playing on their left foot, is it?
No, we're not. We are really crying out for them. We're crying out for them, mate. But yeah, no, he can play. He can play in that 8 role as well. So he can play more centre. So he's not. Wouldn't say he was a direct replacement or a direct sub for Saka. I would say he was more of a centrally minded attacking midfielder. I think maybe that was the reason we didn't get an Odegaard like cover. Whether we could find one that was happy to sit on the bench for probably 36 games in the season, but Nweneri can definitely come into that position and help to ease the burden off Odegaard.
Okay, well, I didn't know that necessarily about Nweneri. I suppose like my knowledge of him is less than yourself.
I don't think like he's not like people are talking about him outside of Arsenal. They're starting to see him on the pitch a bit more, but he's definitely he can play right, he can play centre, but I think really he'll probably start to be that centre mid. I think maybe that's why we went for maybe an older player, not older player because Marino's 29, but why maybe we went for that older player now, because if we had gone for maybe a big signing 24, 25-year-old in that centre mid, Nweneri might be thinking, my options are going to be limited by you bringing in someone that's here for 4 or 5 seasons, whereas Marino might be a 2-3 seasons, and then you're looking at Nweneri as a player that comes in his 20s to take that spot.
Whereas from looking at what I've seen of him, I think he's a goal poacher. I think he's a striker. That's what I think he is. I'm sure he doesn't even play there, but he dinked finish, didn't he, against Bolton? He did a dink. He dinked the goal.
He did do a dink. Yeah, yeah. I can't remember those goals against.
You can't do a dink without being a real striker.
Is that the level of what a striker is, being able to do a dink?
And you know I love a dink. I love a dink.
Love a dink, mate.
Mate. Got to always Panenka every penalty, and you've got to do a dink. You dink the goalie, you embarrass him. You've mugged him off completely.
Yeah.
So I like that. I saw that finish, and I like that. I like that a lot. You've got a lot.
Yeah. Again, at the Bolton game, he Rice when Nweneri's second goal, Rice wins the ball high up, plays it to Nweneri. Nweneri could play. I think he had a couple of people that he could play to, but no, he was like, "No, I'm shooting, yeah." and that's the level of confidence.
Striker mentality, that is. No, I'm scoring. I like that. It's a lot of a goal scorer. Maybe instead of striker, I mean goal scorer wherever he plays. Right?
Yeah.
And I suppose there's a couple of other things that I've got questions around. We talked about it a little bit, which I suppose we won't dwell on massively, but what a goal from Justin.
Oh, what a goal, mate. Like, yeah. That connection, it's the perfect connection where it's just, you just getting so much curl on that ball, and without that curl, it's hitting the post and coming out, and it was a great goal. Like, even though it annoyed me because it made it 2-2, but it's still such a great goal to see.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it was an unbelievable strike. I agree with you. Cutting across the ball, getting that sort of fade on it to come.
Yes.
Sublime. Like, great finish. Also,
that's a striker's finish, mate. That's a striker's finish. Right.
Mate, that's a Pele finish. That's
yeah.
That's like taking the mickey out of people. And he like a right back or something as well.
Yeah, he's a right back, mate. He's decent. He's a decent player though. Like I think he's still reasonably young. I think he's above Leicester standards, but he's been at Leicester a while now. But yeah,
that sort of level.
Oh no, above that, mate. Don't want to do him disservice.
So like Crystal Palace level then.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
One last question for you, and it's going to be something that I think is going to cause a load of clickbait and a load of clipping up and taking out of context and all that sort of stuff. But what do you think about Theo Walcott? And I know you love him, but Theo Walcott's comment that Cole Palmer is the reincarnation of Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah, I love Theo. Can we stop it there? No, I'm joking. No, I love Theo, and I respect everything he says, and I will caveat this that I think I completely wrong about Cole Palmer. I thought he was an average player playing in a shit side, and that's what made him look good. But now even when I watch him, I think, how's he scoring these goals? Because they seem so simple, but he's always there to score the goals. No. But Theo, I think Theo's gone a bit overboard on the old Cole Palmer-aid. He's drunk too much of that Kool-Aid, and he can't, at the moment, can't lace Bergkamp's boots. But yeah, he's Cole Palmer's really great player. But yeah, I think Theo was looking for the old headlines there, but or maybe he just said it kind of off the cuff, and then people kept asking him about it. But yeah, I would say Cole Palmer is a very, 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 very good Premier League player. Dennis Bergkamp was a magician, so that's why. Yeah. That's why I would end on that. But Theo, I would love it if you watched this. You never will, but if you did, I still love you, and I'll still respect anything you say. But maybe hold off on those analogies for a few more seasons.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to say. My only input on that whole thing is I have absolutely no idea whether Cole Palmer is as good as Dennis Bergkamp or not. He doesn't even play like him, so I don't really understand the comparison. Like personally, I don't think he plays. When was the last time? And I'm not saying this like to sort of cuss Dennis Bergkamp, because love him. I actually loved Dennis Bergkamp, one of my favourite players of all time. But when did he score 4 goals in a game?
No, I know the exact reason why Theo made the comparison. It was like, I think it was Palmer's like first, second. It wasn't his penalty, but whatever it won, he got a ball and he just like he took it in his stride, and like almost like he stood still, but was still moving,
Yes.
and then like took it and carried on, and that was very Bergkamp-esque. But yeah, Cole Palmer's more of a goal scorer than Bergkamp, but Bergkamp's obviously a legendary player, so it's always hard to compare legendary players and players that are currently playing because you don't really know.
No, and if he does, so my more apt comparison, I think, is that Cole Palmer is like Frank Lampard, but whatever, I suppose. I don't really know, and I think just to have a little stab at Man City for a laugh. What do we do with Phil Foden has aged really well, and your hatred, we're playing a character, your hatred for Phil Foden has amassed into being sort of correct. And basically, Cole Palmer was the one. So, did Pep get one wrong? And are we allowed to say that? Because nobody else ever says it. It's like, oh no, but Cole Palmer, he was never going to play for the Man City side. Oh, well, you don't need 30 extra goal contributions then a season.
Yeah. I think yeah, probably Man City got that one wrong, but it's so hard. I mean, they did get 40 million for him, so even when he eventually Chelsea sell him, they may get like maybe 2 times more than that, but they'll get all his goals. Yeah, I mean Cole Palmer. I'm glad he left Man City. I'm very glad they can't rely on Cole Palmer now. They've got De Bruyne injured and Phil Foden. There must be something going on with Phil Foden and Pep. There's no way that he's not starting games. Something's happened there.
It's weird, isn't it? It is really weird going from like last season, him being their main player and like everything built around him to facilitate, because he's obviously really good. So now they don't have De Bruyne, but definitely don't play the geezer who stepped in for him last season.
Yeah, it's a strange one. There's something going on. Maybe he's got maybe there's something going on in his personal life, or he's got a slight injury. But I'm on going back to the Theo Walcott one. Yeah, maybe in 10 seasons we can say Cole Palmer was as good as Bergkamp. At the moment, he's a very good player, and I think he's now, I would say, a central midfielder. He doesn't play off the right anymore, does he? Because Sancho and plays off there now. Yeah, he's a very very good player, but no, can't lace Bergkamp's boots.
Agree with that. And so I think that brings us to the end of the Arsenal review portion of our podcasts and that. So thank you very much for everybody who's been listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to do that, and keep abreast of all of our other podcasts. There's a Liverpool one that we've done that will be out, and there will be a predictions one coming out, and there might be a few little spicy extra ones coming out as.
Yeah, I think let's do one on the Man United Tottenham game as well, because that was hilarious.
I think we owe it to me to do that, because my hatred of Man United, and it's almost like I'm an evil genius, but we'll do that in the next one. Do that in the next one. Have you got anything else to add, boss man, before we say goodbye?
Nothing more from me. Just looking forward to the PSG game on Tuesday night, and hopefully Arsenal can get a nice win there.
Yeah, well, nice one. Cheers for listening, everybody, and see you later.
See you later, everyone. Bye.